Well, hello there, my fellow rushers. How are you doing today? KingRex here, and today we have an interesting hero design for Kingdom Rush Vengeance. As you can see, the hero idea is Demon Man, or the name of the hero, which is the actual name, is Allisten, and was created by Saasggy. I think that's how you pronounce this guy's name, and it's a hero design for, you guessed it, Kingdom Rush Vengeance. It says it right up in here. It says it, Kingdom Rush Vengeance. And then he also specified the species, which I don't really know why. I haven't seen a hero design that specifies the species, but he's a human and a demon. Alright, that's interesting. Now let's have a backstory and appearance, so if you want to read them, you can always do that. I'm gonna be leaving the files down into the description so you can read them yourself. Now, he would be a paid hero, so that's good to certify. So if he's a paid hero, then he has to be slightly better. You know, because you're actually going to be paying real money for him. So let's take a look at his statistics. So from level 5 to level 10, that's good. I appreciate the amount of extra work that he put in. Very nice. So at level 10 he has 420 HP, which is not a lot, but hey, 420 HP is 420. 28 to 41 damage. Now, he didn't specify the damage, so I would assume it is physical damage. And he has 1 second attack rate, so the calculations are actually very easy. He deals exactly 34.5 damage on average per second, which is not bad. That's a pretty okay-ish damage output. Not super high, not super low. Pretty average, I suppose. So, the armor amount is 50%, so he has 840 efficient HP against enemies that do only physical damage. Not bad. And a respawn time of 20 seconds. Alright, that's a good amount of respawn rate. Not too high, not too low. Pretty balanced. Moving on to his abilities. Let's check them out. His primary ability is Demon Sword, which is an active. It has a cooldown of 18 seconds and it's gonna cost 1, 2, and then 3 hero points. The demon uses its flaming sword to attack an enemy for 100, 200, and then 300 true damage to the enemy and ignites it on fire, dealing 25, 50, and then 100 true damage over 5 seconds. Pretty solid single target ability, I suppose. 300 true damage just like that, that's pretty solid, you know, you can annihilate most low tier enemies with one shot. That's pretty nice, I guess. And it's pretty decent against enemies that have heavy armor, or, you know, magic resistance for that matter, but it depends on your strategy. If you're going for mostly magic towers, then this thing is still gonna be useful, but still. True damage is true damage, and we gotta appreciate it. 300 true damage is a pretty solid number, and you can do an additional 100 true damage over 5 seconds. Even though 5 seconds may seem like a long time, don't worry about it, it's Kingdom Rush Vengeance. Most enemies are very slow, so you're probably gonna have enough time to execute the full amount of duty. Pretty good ability. Moving on to Demon Form. It's an active, it has a cooldown of 25 seconds. It's gonna cost 3, and then additional 3 hero points. The demon takes over Allisten for 5, 10, and then 15 seconds, giving him 1, 2, and then 3 HP per second regeneration, and 50, 100, and then 200% buff to his stats, including armor. Now that's a spicy ability right there. So the HP amount, I don't really know about it, like 3 HP per second. Is it actually that good? Probably no, but hey, it's a tiny amount of extra regeneration, which I guess is good. But think about it, 200% base stat boost. So let's get back to the statistics. So 420 health is gonna turn into a lot of health, let's just say that. He's gonna have a ton of HP. So, his damage is gonna be pretty high as well. He's gonna do between 84 to 123 damage, and his armor is 150%. Yeah, I think 150% is a number that we're never gonna see in a real game, but still, that's a cool idea to think about. 150% physical armor. But at this point, he's pretty much immune to physical damage, let's just say that. 150%, that's like immunity at this point. At least that's how I think. Maybe it isn't, but in my opinion, that's pretty much being immune to physical damage, which is dope. So, in total, his efficient HP is going to turn in all the way up to 1260, which is actually very high. Pretty high amount of efficient HP, I guess. Now, his average DPS is going to be 103.5 seconds. Now, I'm not quite sure if the attack speed will change, but I'm pretty sure it's 103.5 average damage per second. So yeah, this demon form is by far a very strong ability, let's just say. Very good, I like it. I kind of like how he didn't make it like last the full duration, because imagine if it had like full, if at max level you can use it like for like, I don't know, 80% of the time. You can use it about 50% of the time, but that's still very good. 50% of the time he's going to be in his demon form and being super strong. Very good. Now I'm not quite sure how, actually, never mind. Let's get on with it. Moving on to We Are a Legion. Active, and it has a cooldown of 35, 30, and then 25 seconds. So I would assume with every level you decrease the cooldown. Cool. It's gonna cost 2, and an additional 2 hero points. So, the demon uses the ancient demon duplication technique and copies himself. The copy has half the stats of Allisten and the demon. It fights with them for 15, 20, and then 25 seconds. Even though it's a copy, it can use any of the abilities that Allisten has. Oh, alright, so that's an interesting way. Interesting ability. Similar to Durax's copies, but different. Instead of being like just a plain copy of himself, it's a weaker one. It has half the stats and it doesn't have any abilities. But I suppose it is nice if you need to have an additional unit to stall. That's good. I would assume the copy can be moved individually. You know, you can move it separately to an additional choke point. So I guess this could be a nice ability to have around. I suppose. You know, I like it. It's not bad. And you can pretty much have it all the time. As long as you don't kill the copy, you can have it pretty much for the full duration. But still, he's gonna have half of the stats, so 25% armor and only 210 HP with pretty low DPS. I'm not quite sure how you're gonna make this happen, but I suppose it is good to have an additional stalling unit, just which you can put anywhere on the map, I suppose. Moving on to the second to last ability, Sword of Flames. It's an active and it has a cooldown of 20 seconds. It's gonna cost 2, and an additional 2 hero points. Using the incredible heat flaming sword, the demon burns away 10, 25, and then 50% of the armor of an enemy group. Max enemies hit by this attack is 4. Ooh, interesting. Armor reduction. Pretty nice debuff. 50% armor is actually a lot. Now, I'm not quite sure if it works on the magic resistance as well, because it just clearly specifies that it's armor. Maybe it doesn't work on magic resistance, maybe it's strictly only against armor, but I guess it is good, because if he's facing off an enemy that has high physical armor, like a Bone Carrier, for example, reducing his armor by 50% just like that is gonna be pretty nice. I would assume that it's not stackable. You can probably just debuff an enemy once, because it doesn't have a duration, as you can see here. It doesn't say it lasts for X amount of seconds, so I would assume it is a permanent debuff. But you can only use it once, because let's be honest, if you can stack it, you can pretty much reduce the armor of an enemy pretty much to 0 after multiple ability usages. So yeah, but it's pretty nice. It's a nice way to help him out face off against tougher enemies. Pretty nice ability. And last but not least, we also have the hero spell, or the ultimate. Seal of the Legion. It's an active and it has a cooldown of 16 seconds. Oh, sorry, 60. My bad. My English is not great today. It's gonna cost 3, and an additional 3 hero points. Ignites enemies in an AoE, same size as Doomtank's, what is that? Call TV? Call TV? I would assume this is Call of the Valkyrie? Yeah, that's Call of the Valkyrie. I'm pretty sure that's what he's referring to with this thing right up in here. That takes 200, 400, and then 600 true damage over 10 seconds. 60 true damage per second. And alright, that's a nice ability, I guess. It's like a better version of Doomtank's Call of the Valkyrie, where the issue with the Doomtank's ultimate was that it wasn't able to do a lot of damage. It was physical damage, so you had a very limited usages out of it. It has a delay before you drop the nuke, and on top of that, it has a very strange hitbox, and sometimes you may not hit enemies. So this is definitely a much better version of it. Although 60 seconds, I'm not quite sure if that's alright. I mean, I guess it's true damage in a reasonable AoE. And I guess, but the thing is that you have to stall enemies in the AoE, otherwise you're not going to be able to make enemies take 600 true damage. You need to keep them in there for 10 seconds, and that could be difficult to do. But I suppose since you have an additional copy of yourself and you could become a super strong demon, and you're probably going to be using barracks with him, yeah, I can see how this could be possible, but on some maps you may not be able to get the most out of this hero spell. But for the most part, I would say that it's a decent ability. And then there's also the secondary, which I assume is the innate ability. Allister's normal attack leave enemies burning for 10 true damage over 5 seconds. Can't stack, and it can stack with other duty abilities. Alright, that's a nice innate ability, dealing a little bit of true damage, like 2 true damage per second. That's a very small amount, but I guess it's a difference, you know. It's some difference, you know. It's not like nothingness, but I don't know. I feel like it should have been a little bit better. Maybe the duty should have been taking place a little bit faster. Maybe like over 2 seconds instead of like 5 seconds. But I don't know. Also, sorry guys, somebody was calling me there. Yeah. Anyway, that's alright. Now we're gonna be finishing it off with the quotes. Now I'm not quite sure how this guy is gonna sound like, so I'm just gonna read them normally. I'll take you over, puny man, puny human. Okay, so that's the selection quote, and you know, just a regular quote. Sword of Flames, 666, lol. Yeah, 666, classic. For my legion. And then upon that, my fire, it's extinguished. Alright, that's a pretty nice hero design, my man. You did a good job. I really like this design. It has some uniqueness to it. You know, the statistics doesn't seem like they're too special, but then you get to the demon form, and the demon form really makes his statistics very strong, and you can pretty much use this thing for half of the time, so that's good. That's a really strong ability right there. The demon sword is fine. It's a pretty solid single target damage. You can't go wrong with it. You can just move him to a specific location and just annihilate someone with 300 true damage, or do a lot of damage to someone who has a lot of HP. The Weird Legion is a cool ability. I like the fact you can get an additional copy of yourself, but it's significantly weaker, so you have to use it wisely, you know. As far as the Sword of Flames goes, it's pretty strong, I guess. It's a very nice debuff. You can use it with a lot of other towers to combine them with. Imagine how good it would be with artillery, because artillery ignores 50% of the armor, so reducing the armor of someone who has, like, let's say 80% armor, reducing it by 50%, that's gonna turn them down to 40, and then the artillery is gonna ignore an additional 50% of the armor, so that's gonna be, the enemies are gonna have like 20% armor against the artillery. I think this guy will be a good combo with artillery towers. I don't know, I just think it's gonna be a good idea. The hero spell is nice, although it could be a little bit difficult to keep enemies into the AoE for 10 seconds, but it's a pretty good ability, I guess. There's nothing bad to say about this hero, in my opinion. He's pretty strong. Well done, man. I appreciate your hero design. You did a good job. And yeah, guys. Well, with that out of the way, that's gonna do it for the video. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I appreciate you for sticking around to the end. Subscribe if you want to see more of this content in the future, and while you're at it, drop a like on the video, it means a lot to me. And I will see you in the next video. Until it comes, that was King Rexy, over and out.